Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. This is the video. This is the interview that I've told you is coming and I have been looking forward to. It's the one and only Steve Trang from Phoenix, Arizona. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing very well, man. I watch your stuff. I stalk you on Facebook and Instagram and all these places, YouTube. You're doing some amazing things. But let's first talk about the Phoenix market because it appears to be changing right in front of our eyes. What do you got?
It's changing. It's changing quite a bit. But it's just one of those things like there's what's really happening, and then there's like all this conjecture and speculation about it, which is I think they're two totally different things. And as a real estate professional, I actually find it very aggravating.
I like it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's the reality, and then there's perception, and unfortunately perception drives reality. Self-fulfilling prophecy is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's a changing market.
Yeah. Again, one of the things I've studied for the years is just the consumer. And if you can follow the consumer, and because they always move together, right? They move in a herd. Mm-hmm. And it's funny that I want to dive into the numbers in Phoenix, but I actually think there's going to be a very important report on July 20th. It's when the National Association of Realtors posts national June numbers for existing home sales. And I think they are going to be ugly, right? I've gotten data from like other, just cities and counties, and it's not going to be good. And I think that is even going to cause more disruption, right? I think it's going to cause buyers who were nervous to freak out and pause. And I think it's going to cause sellers who are on the fence to list. And we're just going to have this whole combination of, rushing to sell, running away. But where do we stand today in Phoenix? Because what I hear is you're up like 5,000 in inventory in like 30 or 45 days.
That's accurate. That is wholly accurate, right? So we're up 50% in the last 30 days. But I think that if you take into consideration the grand scheme of things, we still don't have enough houses, right? That the reality is we don't have enough houses. I got into the business as a realtor in 2007.
Okay.
But I want to say I started buying houses in 2005. Right.
Okay. All right.
And so when I started as a realtor, it was slowing down. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
In some ways feeling like it's feeling today with the anxiety and uncertainty. Mm-hmm. However, I also got to experience 2008 through 2010 and 11. Mm-hmm. And we had at one point 56,000 listings in MLS.
I want to talk about. Yeah, that's yes.
You want to talk about a tough market? That's a tough market, right?
And for scale, what do you have today? Because people may not know what Phoenix has today.
14,000.
So again, 14,000 today, up 50% in a month, but still not 56,000. Like
right. And people talk about and it's not like we've never had 5,000 new listings in a month before. We just never had 5,000 new listings when we had 9,000 the previous month. Right.
Right. So the percentage looks nuts.
Yeah. If you were to gain 5 pounds, right. As okay. I mean, that sucks. Right? Yeah. that was a really heavy holiday weekend or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Right. But if you have an infant gain 5 pounds, that's significant.
Correct.
And so I think perspective is important. When we're talking about, 14,000 listings is 5,000. And on top of that, you got to remember that 5,000, 1,000 of it is from new homes, right? So for the last 2-3 years, new home builders didn't need us. They treated us like we had, what was it? Leprosy, right?
Yeah. Leprosy, cooties, whatever.
Yeah. Just go back on your island, right? And get out of here. We'll just deal with the buyers ourselves. Now they're calling us and they miss us, right? And they're putting on MLS. So
Exactly.
I think there's a healthy amount of perspective.
Sure.
As to is supply going up? Yes. Is demand going down? Yes. Has supply surpassed demand? No. So today is still a seller's market.
Yeah, and that's what people really need to hear. Is again, right? I think it's I'm drawing a blank on his name, but basically, right, supply is this big circle, demand is a smaller circle. Okay, supply shrunk, but it's still bigger than demand, right?
Exactly.
So, that's what's going on. The other thing that, again, Phoenix is a very interesting market because, again, this could be complete internet lies, but I hear you have one seller, Open Door, with about 1,000 listings. active today. So that's 1 in 15. That could be a problem.
They wanted to conquer the market and they did.
Right? Well, I don't know if they got a lot of inventory. That's for sure.
Right. That's what they wanted. So, but at the end of the day, right? Like, is that going to hurt them? No, they were never in the business to make money.
Really?
Right. I mean, if you think about it's the perfect as an entrepreneur, right? Like Michael, you and I, we're going to start a business, right? And our mission objective is to lose money every day, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to raise billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And retire.
We're going to go public via SPAC, so our money's not in the game.
Yeah. Like, how awesome is that business model?
Well, it's awesome until the day you close the doors.
Well, no, not if you're the founder.
No, that's true.
Right?
No, you got paid. No, that's right.
You got paid. You got your hundreds of millions of dollars, right? That's the Zillow business model, open door, right? It's fantastic.
No,
right?
I agree.
So they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. So like, it sucks as if you own shares in them.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's the perfect business model. If you for people, if we could pull it off, if we could just convince enough people how our stupid idea is going to change the industry.
Yeah. Money rained down on fools, as Elon Musk says. It's becoming a very frequent quote of mine. Yeah. Money rained down on fools, and now the party's over. So it's interesting. So the other thing I'm looking at, again, one of the guys I talked to in Vegas, Brian Lebo, one thing we dug into is kind of price points. I don't know Phoenix price points, but you obviously have a median home price. And, whatever that is, generally speaking, below the median is more active and healthier than 2x the median. Are you seeing that kind of adjustments in your market as well?
We are, but what's interesting is that our first-time home buyer price point, which is below median, is actually softening a bit.
Really? Okay.
And part of it is the interest rate hikes, right? I mean, you can't bump interest rates twice in a large amount in a very short period of time and expect no repercussions, right? So that market is softening a little bit. But again, there's still not enough supply, right? So if you have 30 days of inventory, like, we've been spoiled for the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
And so I think as far as reference goes, and I think the other thing too is, I talk about the importance of perspective, and I was at a time when we had 56,000 listings, which I think was the most ever. But you also hear this other side, right? You hear these guys say, interest rates are historically low, and like, I was around with 18%. And I think that's all irrelevant data, right? Because people make decisions based off comparison. They don't make it on straight facts.
Yes.
So I think that we're losing some buyers right now.
Yeah.
Right. Because they get priced out. And if you've been looking for the last 6 months, you kept getting your offer beat, you're punch drunk. And now you're like, well, crap, I can't even afford this. Or like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also have everyone behind you who just found out they're having a baby, who just got married, who just moved to Arizona, right? We're still one of the top spots for relocation. So for all of those people that are coming in with a fresh set of eyes, they don't realize that their purchasing power got diminished by 15, 20%.
No,
so
I totally agree.
I think there's this window of time where we got to have an adjustment, but I think in 2 months, 3 months, demand will get back to normal.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that were said there. I think a couple of things I've been telling folks: if you have been a buyer and losing out the last 2 years, I'd almost want to congratulate you. The buyers in most markets have more power today. They're going to get closing costs. They should ask for rate buy downs, right? Realize that you're, pretty soon the only girl or the only boy at the dance, and use it to your advantage, right? You couldn't have done that 2 years ago.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too. I think there's a lot of people that might be frustrated and punch drunk as well. But I would potentially argue that you were making some bad decisions along the way, right?
Yeah, you let momentum.
Were you ignoring your realtor's advice? Were you hiring the wrong realtor? Right? Like, the realtors in my organizations get our buyers homes. So if you have not been able to purchase a home in the last 2 years, you might want to look in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of people offering 10, 15, 20K over, waiving all these conditions. That's not normal. That's not healthy. And that leads to mistakes. So if that's your history and you still think that way, wrinkle it up, throw it away. The market's different today.
The market's very different.
Now, the other thing I want to ask about Phoenix, again, I don't know it at all. So we talked about Open Door. How about Airbnb? Have you seen a lot of people rush in and think Airbnb and short-term rentals is the answer, and maybe overpaying? And now I hear in other markets, Airbnb daily rates are falling quite a lot.
I have not noticed anything about the Airbnb daily rates dropping, but I mean, everyone's become an Airbnb expert in the last couple of years. right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know that. But as far as the rates dropping, I have not heard anything about that. I know
Okay.
that there were some funds that were coming here to buy Airbnbs.
Mhm.
Some major money coming in. So I don't know if that attitude has changed.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That's okay.
Well, I guess I was gonna say I'm not sure why it would change, but the reality is everything got more expensive
Yeah.
very quickly. So that could be why the luxury of the Airbnb maybe is gone away, or traveling's
Yeah.
less of an option today.
Yeah, I think it definitely is falling. I just had a realtor on who does in the mountains of Southern California, and
Mhm.
they used to get daily rates of 420. Now it's 180. They used to be 80% booked. Now they're 40. Right? These are real numbers. And if you bought it cheap enough, it doesn't matter. But if you bought it in the last year and you overpaid and you need 60% to break even, it's going to be a tough road. And then there was just a fund, Wonderlust, I think the name was, or Wonderlust, had 26 million bucks in capital raised, and they just declared bankruptcy this morning. So an Airbnb
Okay, that's
investor.
significant.
Yeah. So I think there is some pain out there. And again, if you have the high end stuff, right, like Boardwalk and Park Place, you're going to be fine. It's all the people that followed the gurus, down selected on quality because they couldn't afford, and then try to get in the game late. I see it all over my market. There's a bunch of people in areas that I wouldn't stay. And I'm like, what are you doing Airbnb and here for? I mean, there's just some markets that didn't make sense. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's places where I see Airbnbs like, does that Airbnbs make sense there? Okay, that's cool. I mean, that I would never rented it there for Airbnb, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Another thing too, let me just qualify this real quick.
Sure.
I might sound like a callous bastard, right? I apologize. I'm just very mathematical in my approach.
No, you're absolutely no. That's why I tune in. That's why you put out daily or monthly data about Arizona. That's why I wanted to talk to you. Is you're just matter of fact, and you have roughly 20 years experience. So you've been through the war.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get callous when you go through the war, right? So
yes, you do.
Yeah. So I'm curious. The one area that I think is going to get particularly hurt this time, just kind of like '08 crash. My market fell 75% peak to trough. I'm not calling for that, but the people that got really hurt were the ones trying to flip 2x the median, because that inventory and that marginal buyer, especially if they're in the stock market, which most of those folks are, they get really nervous in the stock market, right? Down 20%, maybe going lower as earnings come in. Is that the same thing in Phoenix? Right? Whatever the median is, multiply it by 2. Is that
I would say probably $1 million plus. So that's probably 2.5 median here.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, once you get $1 million plus, you're not looking at people with like W-2 jobs. You're looking at people who a lot of their net worth is in the stock market. And so, and actually, I mean, it's going to sound tongue in cheek, but we have some Bitcoin millionaires as well, right?
Oh, of course.
And I mean, that's
not not anymore.
Yeah. Right. So, but yeah, I think that market where their purchasing decisions are based off their net worth, which is based on the stock market. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to affect them. How much it's going to affect them, I don't know.
They could just pause, right? They could just go, "Hey, I'm going to take a breath."
It could be, but also again, like it's been a crazy ride for the last couple years in the luxury market, right? Like, I've always stayed away from the luxury market on the traditional realtor side because like it's hectic and like these really long days on market, and so I avoided it, right? And I would be lying to you if I didn't say I was a little envious, right? Like watching all these luxury agents just crush it, selling these $2 million listings in 3 days, right? Yeah. Like they're having record years, but now things are getting back to normal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, money rained down on fools. Back to that Elon Musk quote. Tomorrow is going to be very different than yesterday. So when you look at the Phoenix market, obviously you're trending with more inventory. Do you remember, or do you have data? What was inventory like 2018, 2019?
2018, 2019, I would say inventory was probably around this amount.
Okay. So we're back. Some areas, they're still 25% below kind of those levels, but Phoenix might be back to kind of.
Yeah. I want to say, since I started making these videos, we've been consistently around between 14,000 and 19,000.
Okay.
So yeah, we're right in the smack dab.
And then I, again, don't know the Phoenix market at all. We're in summer. Obviously, Phoenix is hot and getting hotter as we get to August weather-wise. Does the real estate market, is this a good time for real estate or a bad time because it's so hot? I have no idea.
This is that time every year where we always ask ourselves, if we forget, right, with our memory loss, like, what is going on, right?
Okay.
But this is the time of year that it always slows down. People are out of town. It's hot. It's unbearably hot, right? It's 109 outside, right? And it always seems like things don't pick up until school starts again. So,
and that's in September?
First or second week of August here.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So once August rolls around, things gets back to normal. So July, people leaving, it's hot. So it's normal for this time of year to be slower. Not as slow as December, but slower than April, May, and June.
Okay. Well, that's because, again, so that really leads to the fact that you're probably going to be building inventory the rest of this month because, again, less demand, more supply, net adds.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on where Phoenix and goes? Because, again, you're still population still leaning that direction. How about new builds? What does new builds look like in Phoenix? Is it affordable homes? Is it move up buyers? Is it luxury?
It's move up. It's predominantly move up buyers. Okay. Yeah, it's predominantly move up buyers, and they're more motivated now. So this time a year or two ago, they were paying people to cancel their contracts, right? Like, hey,
wow,
we've had 8 months of appreciation. We'll pay you $10,000 for you to walk away from this contract.
Wow.
Today, they're begging people and they're giving concessions and design center credits, right? They're paying realtors 3% again, right? It was down to 2 or 1% or 0, right? Now they're back to paying 3% again. Like, they have to work harder. Yeah. And really, it's just like our wholesale team, our dispo side is getting a lot harder. So yeah, everyone has to work harder to attract the buyers, right? Because buyers are more, they can flex a little bit, kind of like you said earlier, right? They can ask for concessions, right? They're the last person at the dance. So yeah, they've got more say.
Yeah. And again, if you are a buyer today, realize you have more power than if you've only been doing this for a couple of years, you have more power than you've ever had. And your power might even grow the next couple of months.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So if somebody was looking in Phoenix and wanted to reach out to you, see what's going on, how can they follow you or get part of your world?
The best way is follow me on Instagram at steve.trang, steve.trang. Go to stevetrang.com. You can get a hold of us there. And someone from my team will be happy to help you if you guys are interested in buying and selling. And again, I might sound callous. We're professionals. We treat our customers right? And we're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
There you go. And that's why you go to Steve Trang. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.